The virus doesn't respect municipalities, and we all need to respond collectively.
Keeping Coloradans safe as coronavirus cases spike. Another county implementing new restrictions as county health officials call on the state to do more to stop the virus from spreading.
We need to all do our part right now to make sure that we don't slide any further into that red zone territory.
Plus, switching to remote learning. Parents push the governor to keep kids in the classroom.
There are kids who need to be in school because their lives depend on it.
And giving back this holiday season. An organization dedicated to feeding families could use some help this year to make sure everyone gets a Thanksgiving meal.
But first, new coronavirus restrictions. Arapahoe County becomes the latest county in the metro taking steps to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Thanks for joining us on Denver 7 News at 11. I'm Brian Sanders. Starting at 5 tonight, Arapahoe County will move to level orange on the state's COVID dial. That is one step above a stay-at-home order. That means capacity limits go from 50 to 25% in restaurants, places of worship, gyms, and offices. 18 Colorado counties are currently in level orange on the state's COVID dial. 6 metro health departments are now calling for the state to do more to help stop the spread of the virus. A letter to the governor asked the administration to take appropriate restrictive action if necessary. The state and counties both have the authority to put in place tighter restrictions, but
the state dial allows for local public health to make determinations on their own. However, these are stronger and safer for all of us when we operate the entire system together.
So far, the governor extended the mask mandate and encourages families to limit social gatherings, even Thanksgiving, to help reduce the spread. A University of Denver professor tells us the recovery from the initial shutdown may take up to 2 years. He says a second wave of closures would devastate small businesses, bars, and restaurants. The new restrictions come as Colorado hit a record number of coronavirus cases for a single day. Nearly 3,900 new cases were added yesterday. That is a record. The state's positivity rate is now above 12%. It was below the recommended 5% threshold in early October. And 1,270 people are currently in the hospital. That's close to breaking the record of 1,277 set back in April. Jeffco schools are going back to remote learning. The district says pre-K through 5th grade students will start working from home again 4 times a week starting on November 20th. The remaining 6th through 12th grades would be fully remote starting this Monday. And as more districts are going back to remote learning, some parents are joining forces. As Denver 7's Nicole Brady reports, they want the governor to help keep kids in school.
Right now, the state is leaving this up to individual districts, but these parents I spoke to want a unified message and guidance from the state on how to keep schools open, especially as we look at next semester. Just over a week ago, parents in Denver protested that district's decision to return to remote learning for all grades except K through 2nd. Now those Denver parents have joined with parent groups from Adams 12, Boulder Valley, St. Vrain, and Jeffco public schools. They feel the schools have worked hard to mitigate the spread of the virus and have been mostly successful. In a letter to the state education department, they say remote education is leading to mental health issues, academic decline, and more inequality since districts are operating so differently.
We all want our kids in school because that's the best place for them. There are kids who need to be in school because their lives depend on it.
And we're going to have to accept some new reality with it. And it's not going to be perfect, but we have to move forward. We can't just keep waiting and hiding at home.
Not all parents feel this way. I have heard from some families who are concerned that schools are still open despite rising COVID cases, but the parent groups I did speak with represent thousands of parents who want an option for in-person learning as well as an option for online learning. Nicole Brady, Denver 7.
And students aren't the only ones missing out on the social and productive aspects from not being at home. Adults are as well. Co-working spaces are seeing a surge in memberships from people needing an office outside of the house and from business owners who want to protect employees from burnout by offering a flexible work environment. Charlie Johnson of Thrive Workspaces says they're adjusting to accommodate all the business shortfalls right now.
Internet doesn't work, printer has issues, so we've kind of taken that all off their hands to make that convenience. And now we're expanding it into other areas, so we can be that front person, we can be the admin side of things, help their marketing.
Thrive has 4 co-working spaces in the Denver metro, and they even offer a student plan so parents can bring their kids to work for them to do their schooling online. New this morning, Broncos defensive end Shelby Harris will miss Sunday's game against the Chargers after testing positive for the coronavirus. Harris says he feels fine and doesn't have any symptoms. He didn't play against the Falcons last weekend because he was in self-quarantine after coming into close contact with someone who was positive. Several other players, coaches, and other Broncos employees have tested positive in the past few weeks, including CEO Joe Ellis and GM John Elway. A Thanksgiving tradition that dates back decades is facing trouble this year to feed hungry families. The Epworth Foundation feeds thousands of Coloradans each year in honor of Daddy Bruce Randolph. Denver7's Micah Smith explains how you can help.
In the late 1960s, Daddy Bruce Randolph began feeding people in need of a holiday meal at City Park. That first meal fed 200 people. In the years since he's passed away, the Epworth Foundation has continued to honor Daddy Bruce by feeding thousands of people Thanksgiving dinners every year. Organizers say every year they're in need of volunteers and donations, but this year is special. With the pandemic impacting so many workers' livelihoods, the foundation has had an increase in requests and nominations for Thanksgiving meals. The foundation is also changing the way it distributes the dinners. Typically, there's a huge line outside of Epworth United Methodist Church where families can pick up their meals, but because we're still in the middle of a pandemic, instead volunteer drivers will drop them off at home.
We want to be mindful and keep everyone safe, so rather than having the long lines that we normally have in the last 56 years, that this year we will have everything delivered.
Reverend Ronald Wooding, who you just heard from, says they are still in need of volunteer drivers. Distribution will be happening on Saturday, November 21st. If you can't volunteer or give, Wooding says you can nominate a family and you can do that for free. For more information on volunteering, nominating, or donating, you can go to the Epworth Foundation's website. That's epworthfoundation.org, EPWORTH Foundation.org. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver7.
Bells were ringing through Loveland early this morning in honor of Veterans Day. They sounded off at 4 a.m., marking the end of World War I. This tradition has been happening in Loveland since the 1930s. The VFW and American Legion will also host a breakfast, and a National Guard flyover just started moments ago. In Boulder, meanwhile, they've been honoring veterans for more than 70 years by lighting the Boulder Star. The star is on Flagstaff Mountain. It will light up at 6 o'clock tonight and stay lit through the holiday season. This year, the lighting will happen virtually.